Welcome to 8 Weeks to a Better You. Week 3, we're focusing on food and nutrition. Today, let's explore our ancestors' nutritional habits and understand why they faced fewer health issues compared to us. We'll also look into modern fad diets and examine why they usually give only short term results. So, why do you think our parents and grandparents had fewer issues than us? Number 1, lifestyle changes. Our ancestors were physically more active, engaging in labor intensive activities that required high energy. Traditional diets, usually rich in carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, complemented their lifestyle. For example, my mom was a professor, and her work life made her stand and walk around almost the whole day, whereas my job demands me to sit in one place the whole day in front of the computer. It's a complete opposite. Number 2, food quality. Traditional food in the past was organic, seasonal, and free from pesticides, preservatives, or excessive processing. Modern agricultural practices, processed foods, and chemical additives compromise the nutritional value and can harm health. Number 3, gut microbiome. Our ancestors had diverse gut bacteria due to exposure to natural, unprocessed foods and their environment. Modern sterile environments and processed foods reduce gut diversity, impacting digestion and immunity. Number 4, portion sizes. Our ancestors ate in moderation, guided by traditional practices and rituals. Larger portions and snacking habits now lead to overconsumption. Remember, they never ate in front of TV or distracted, multitasking, etc., so they could listen to their bodily needs and stop at the right time. Number 5, stress and sleep. Stress and poor sleep in modern times affect digestion and metabolism, causing the body to process traditional diets differently. Can you imagine our grandparents or even parents staying up super late, like after 11 pm? It was unheard of back then, right? Now, sleeping at 11 pm is so common that if we sleep by 9 or 10 pm, it's considered early by today's standards. Number 6, dietary diversions. Increased consumption of junk food, sugary drinks, and westernized diets has led to health issues like insulin resistance, making it harder to adapt to any foods. Now, close your eyes for a moment and picture the typical meals or snacks our grandparents or even parents used to have. Now, compare that with your current day meals or snacks. Do you see what I mean? Isn't it totally different most of the times? What major differences do you notice? For me, it's clear that our meals are far more processed than theirs, and the portion sizes are significantly larger. Share in the comments if you notice any other alarming changes. Take your time and do this exercise to have an eye-opening moment. Okay, now keep that thought in you and we will come back to the roots in a while. Before we go further, one more aspect to dig a little deeper are the new age fad diets. Many modern fad diets promise quick results, but they usually come with risks and long-term drawbacks. Let's look at them. Number 1, keto diet. What is it? A high-fat, low-carb diet that forces the body into ketosis to burn fat for energy. Why should we avoid it? Because it's difficult to sustain long term. It can lead to nutrient deficiencies due to low intake of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. There can be side effects like fatigue, constipation, and bad breath. So, do we have any roots-based alternative? Yes, traditional diets offer natural low-carb options like millet, lentils, and vegetables while being nutritionally balanced. Number 2, intermittent fasting. What is it? Cycling between eating and fasting windows. I know this is the most favorite these days, but some caution points why to avoid. Skipping meals may not suit everyone, leading to fatigue, irritability, or binge eating during eating windows. It can disrupt traditional meal rhythms and social eating patterns. Also, there are claims that this works better for men than women, but I leave it to you for more research. Now, what is a root based alternative? Traditional practices like early dinners and lighter evening meals align with the body's natural rhythm without extreme fasting. Number 3, detox diets, juice cleanses. What is it? Consuming only juices or liquids to detoxify the body. Why should we avoid this? The body already has organs like the liver and kidneys to detoxify naturally. This lacks protein, fiber, and healthy fats, causing energy dips and muscle loss. Root based alternative. Most traditions use natural detoxifiers like warm lemon water, herbal teas, or seasonal fasting days with wholesome foods. Number 4, paleo diet. What is it? It emulates a caveman diet focusing on meat, fish, fruits, and nuts while excluding grains and legumes. Why should one avoid it? Because it eliminates staple foods like rice, wheat, and lentils, which are central to many cultural diets. It has high meat consumption, which may strain the kidneys and increase cholesterol levels. The root based alternative is that the traditional diets emphasize balanced meals with pulses, grains, and fresh produce, ensuring all essential nutrients. Number 5, high protein diets. This focuses on protein while minimizing carbs and fats. What is the issue with that? Excess protein can strain the kidneys and may lead to digestive issues. This ignores the importance of carbs and healthy fats for energy and brain function. The root based alternative. The traditional diets naturally include balanced protein from dal, chickpeas, paneer, and nuts without overloading it. Number 6, low fat diets. This is basically reducing fat intake to lose weight. Why to avoid? Because healthy fats are essential for hormone regulation and vitamin absorption. Overly restrictive diets can lead to cravings and nutrient deficiencies. Traditional diets include healthy fats like ghee, coconut, and mustard oil in moderation. Now, please note, I am not against any of these if you personally see the benefits. Again, I try to remind you in every video that I am not a nutritionist by profession. I am here to share what worked for me and what didn't work. So if you're considering any of these diets, then all I'm saying is to do proper research before you get into it. Most of these work for some and do not work for many. By the time you realize, your health would have been already impacted. So I'm just cautioning you about these so you can do the due diligence before you start any such diet. So, what is the alternative if not these to see good results? I would suggest sticking to your roots while adapting to your current lifestyle, profession, health needs, and other influencing factors. It's all about finding a balance that works for you. For me, it's all about sustainability. If I can follow a particular way of eating happily for the rest of my life, not as a punishment, then it's a green flag. If meal times become dreadful because of what's on my plate, it's clear that it won't benefit me in any way since my mind has already rejected it. In fact, eating something less healthy with the right attitude often supports better digestion than forcing down the healthiest food with a reluctant mind. So, what do I mean by saying going back to roots? Try to eat as close as possible to what your parents and grandparents ate. Our bodies are accustomed to those foods since we likely grew up eating them, making it easier for our system to embrace them. The real issue arises when we modify traditional combinations, leading us to label them as too many carbs or too little protein. If you take a closer look, our ancestors' meals were naturally balanced with the right portions of carbs, proteins, healthy fats, fiber, and probiotics. It's the modern modifications done for our convenience that disrupt this balance, and yet we end up blaming our roots. So, here are some important points to consider when we go back to the roots. Number one, remember the balanced meal plate they had and follow same without much modifications. Our Indian thalis are designed to provide a balance of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, fiber, and micronutrients. Number two, eat without distractions like them to avoid overeating. Traditional practices include eating while seated with minimal distractions and chewing food well. Number three, modify to match your lifestyle. For example, if ancestors were more physical workers like farmers, then they would have eaten more carbs, but it won't work for you if your job is more sedentary. So consider those factors and don't blindly follow their meal plate. Number four, timing. One of the best diet to follow is the sunrise to sunset, which basically is just aligning our eating to the circadian rhythm. Our digestive fire is at the peak when sun is at the peak and gradually reduces as it becomes evening. That's why the famous saying, eat with the sun, large meals when the sun is high and light meals when it sets. This reflects the idea that our digestion is strongest during the day around midday and weakens as evening approaches, aligning with the body's natural biological clock. But what do we do in modern times? We make dinner our heaviest meal, a perfect recipe for disrupting our health and well-being. So let's avoid that and align with circadian rhythm just like our ancestors did. Number 5, water and hydration. Prioritize water, herbal teas, and proper timing for hydration while cutting back on sugary soft drinks. Do you ever recall our ancestors sipping on soft drinks or cold beverages with their meals? That alone speaks volumes about how far we have strayed from their healthier habits. Number 6, food combinations. Think about the mix of international and national cuisines we consume today. Have our ancestors ever combined such diverse foods? And with this frequency? Once in a while is fine, but doing it too often can overwhelm the digestive system. Be cautious and mindful about that. Number 7, limit additives. Avoid excess sugar, salt, oil, and harmful additives like food coloring and MSG. When cooking, imagine you're preparing a meal for your ancestors. Be mindful and considerate of their health, and yours will benefit too. Number 8, use fresh ingredients. Opt for fresh vegetables and ingredients as much as possible. Incorporate spices like turmeric, ginger, cumin, and coriander, which are integral to traditional Indian cooking and packed with health benefits. Use them generously while minimizing canned, packaged, and frozen ingredients. Fresh is always the best. Number 9, remember the emphasis on fermented foods in our traditional cooking. Most cultures embrace fermented foods. The benefits are immense. Fermented foods improve your gut bacteria, aiding digestion and boosting immunity. All I want to say is, modern day fad diets are like flashy shortcuts on a winding road. Tempting at first, but they often lead to dead ends or detours, leaving you lost and frustrated. Going back to your roots, however, is like taking a well-paved, time-tested path that may seem simple, but it's reliable and it leads to your destination of a balanced, sustainable health. Okay, a lot was told. What is the actual takeaway? Number 1, understand the key lessons from our ancestors. Recognize why their lifestyle and eating habits were healthier focusing on balance, natural foods, and mindful practices. Number 2, identify issues with modern fad diets. Acknowledge that they are often unsustainable and lack the completeness of a balanced diet, leading to a long-term health challenges. Number 3, go back to the roots but adapt. Embrace traditional eating habits while tailoring them to fit your current lifestyle, profession, and health needs for a sustainable, balanced approach. I hope these points give you something to reflect on and consider. That's all for today. Stay nourished, stay vibrant. Thank you.